We took our first ever cruise to Mardi Gras, and this is the good, bad, and ugly of a Mardi Gras cruise.
JJ Cruise.
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is
JJ Cruise.
Thank you so much for clicking into the video today. Today we're talking all about our cruise to Mardi Gras. We took the Celebrity Constellation on an 8-night cruise that docked in New Orleans over Fat Tuesday. And we're going to tell you the good, bad, and ugly and everything that you need to know for cruising to New Orleans during Mardi Gras.
Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and you can be a part of the first 100K of JJ Cruise. And while you're there, hit that thumbs up.
We took an 8-night cruise that was round trip out of Tampa, Florida, and went and docked in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. In this video, we're going to tell you everything that you need to know about taking a cruise during Mardi Gras season. We're going to answer questions like, who is this cruise for? What do you need to know when cruising to New Orleans during Mardi Gras season? And we're going to give you tips and cruise tricks to understand what this cruise is really about.
At the end of the video, we'll tell you if we'll ever do this cruise again or if it would be right for you. So make sure you stay till the end to make sure that ugly isn't something that will totally ruin your cruise. If you don't know what Mardi Gras is, it is that carnival celebration from the end of Christmas season, so January 6th, all the way up until Lent starts, which is obviously Ash Wednesday. Fat Tuesday is the Tuesday before that, and carnival season is the same as Mardi Gras season, to where you are experiencing all of your indulgences before going into Lent.
Mardi Gras is obviously a historic celebration, and this is a bucket list trip for a lot of people. When we saw this cruise pop up and we saw that we could actually sail up the Mississippi to get to New Orleans and experience Mardi Gras for a couple of overnights, we knew we had to jump on board, literally, to figure out what this was all about. Let's start off by talking about who this cruise is for. Now, we are on the Celebrity Constellation, which does skew a little bit older. And by older, I mean there is mostly adults on the ship. The ship doesn't have a lot of families, there's not a lot of kids present, and even though there are parts of Mardi Gras that are very family friendly, like the parades, this cruise is definitely more for adults. Let's jump right into the good. Now, we talked about how we left out of Tampa, Florida. When cruising into New Orleans, you will cruise up the Mississippi for a little bit, and then the cruise docks right at Julia Street Cruise Terminal. The great thing about this location is this is right in town.
This is right in the business district, which is next door to the French Quarter and in prime location for Mardi Gras celebrations. What we love about this is you don't have to do anything but get off the ship, and you're right in the heart of the place that you want to experience.
In particular, you are right next to one of the main parade routes. If you come to Mardi Gras, you have to experience a parade. There is nothing like it. The colorful floats, the marching bands, the throws, the beads, everything that you possibly can imagine, you will see just within steps of Julia Street Cruise Terminal. The location is absolutely prime for seeing parades because you don't have to go more than about 5 minutes to get to one of the main parade routes.
Now, every parade has a different route. We recommend getting a parade tracker app on your phone so you can actually see the different routes when the parades are scheduled, and then actually track where the parade is in real time so you make sure you don't miss it wherever you're located.
It's no secret that this particular week of Mardi Gras is the most expensive to travel to New Orleans. There's no need to spend $600, $700, $800 per night on a hotel in the French Quarter when you take this cruise, which comes in, docks for 1 or 2 nights over Mardi Gras, and becomes your floating hotel. Similarly with flights to New Orleans can be the most expensive during this time of year. So that's why a cruise into Mardi Gras makes a lot of financial sense.
More ways to save money here in regards to the cruise is that you have all your food and drink that you want to either pre-game or after party and come back on board and get some grub without having to pay additional prices while on land. Now, of course, we had plenty to drink and eat while on shore, but if you need that late night snack or you need that really hearty breakfast before getting out there into a parade, this is a great place to do it without spending extra money pre or post going out for Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras can be a party, and there can be a lot of crowds, there can be a lot of people out in the town having a good time, especially if you find yourself on Bourbon Street. It can be a little bit chaotic from time to time. Now, of course, people go for the chaos. This is why people go to Mardi Gras, to have fun and have a good time. What's great about cruising to Mardi Gras is that this is your nice, quiet escape from that chaos.
You can get away for as much as you need to, or you can stay out. It's up to you. This is truly a getaway to make sure you're relaxed, rejuvenated, whether that is just for an hour or if that is for an entire night of sleep.
This is a cruise ship after all, so things are kept very clean, very calm, and together here on the ship. So it truly is a rejuvenating experience to come back to your floating hotel after spending a day out in Mardi Gras.
Alongside having this as your floating hotel, you also get the small ship intimate charm that comes with the Celebrity Constellation, which is what we took this cruise on. What we love about this is you have a really intimate group of people that are all excited for Mardi Gras before you even get there, starting all the celebrations on board, but also being able to find some friends that you might go out and experience Mardi Gras with before you even get to New Orleans. We love this because obviously you get the premium service on board, but you also make those really close connections while on board as well.
Another great part about taking a cruise to New Orleans is that you get onboard exclusive experiences and excursions while at port. Before we ever stepped foot in New Orleans, there were talkbacks with New Orleans natives or locals that came and told you things about how to pronounce certain words, what to expect when you're in New Orleans, what foods to try, and gave you key points about history of Mardi Gras and New Orleans. This is sometimes things that you would pay hundreds of dollars for, taking like a walking tour or getting all of this information at one time, but this is all included in your cruise fare.
In addition, there's a lot of private excursions that you can take as well. So whether that's a private balcony just for celebrity guests or some other type of Mardi Gras experience, these are only offered through the cruise line themselves. Now, with us saying that, of course, there are going to be plenty of other public balconies that you can go on either for free or have another kind of paid for experience off the ship. But it's really cool to have that with those on board and exclusive to those on board as well. Something I'm sure a lot of people don't even think about is the day after Mardi Gras. Now, although there is no more party and celebration, this is actually a great thing for an extra cruise day. Why, you might ask? Well, there's a lot more to explore comfortably and a little bit more in a recovery stage where you can go and get really good food. You can go out on excursions like swamp tours and other things that are truly New Orleans that you might not have been able to really experience because there's too many people in the way to really fully experience it.
There are a plethora of museums, walking tours, places like the Garden District to walk through, so many cool things to see that maybe you wouldn't do on Fat Tuesday, but you definitely could do on the Wednesday afterwards. It's a great time to really see New Orleans and focus on the spots that you couldn't get to with the congested crowds during Monday and Tuesday.
Now, if you're a true cruiser, you probably have learned about transatlantic cruises or repositioning cruises, one of our favorites to take. Well, when taking it, we always recommend coming from Europe to North America for one main reason. You do everything up front, you go to all of your ports, and then you have a long amount of sea days, a lot of sea days to recover from all those days at port. This Mardi Gras cruise is very similar to that in the fact that you do all of your things up front in New Orleans. You really celebrate Mardi Gras up front in the first few days of your cruise, and then you can recover the rest of your cruise. You can sleep in, you can even take naps throughout the day, be out at the pool and just lay out and relax. It really is a nice way to not have to go straight back to work or straight back to home right after Mardi Gras.
We're going to get into the bad, and if you've watched our reviews before, you'll know that the bad is more like things that you need to know if you are cruising to Mardi Gras. But before we do that, I do just have to remind you that at the very end, we're going to share our ugly of this cruise, and I'm just going to give a little forewarning. The ugly is pretty trashy.
It should go without saying that if you're going to Mardi Gras, it is going to be the high time, peak time for travel, which means lots and lots of crowds. Now, to be fair, we were pleasantly surprised that those crowds really made their mark on the French Quarter more so than everywhere else. But no matter where you go, you will have more people than usual in New Orleans, which is a little harder to get around. So if you're someone that hates crowds, this may not be the right cruise for you.
Along with the big crowds, something else that you need to know is that you will walk a lot. Between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jared and I had over 50,000 steps. Now, this is some of the most walking we have ever done at port, and that includes walking all over Europe and Japan. The ship is docked in the business district, but it is about a 35 to 40-minute walk to get over to Bourbon Street and some parts of the French Quarter.
Once you're in the French Quarter or wherever you're going, you have to plan to be standing most of the day. Now, there are going to be some seats, some stools, some areas, but honestly, if you're in a crowded area, you're going to have to be standing and walking most of the day, including that of the parades. If you're not going to get in a grandstand, you are most likely going to be standing if you want to see anything in the parades. In addition to this, you have to be prepared if you are somebody that has some mobility concerns. There is going to be uneven surfaces through the sidewalks. There's obviously a lot of history here in New Orleans, and so some of the sidewalks have been used a little bit more than other parts of the United States, and so you do have some uneven surfaces every once in a while. So watch where you're going and make sure you are ready for those differences in surface.
One of the reasons we walked so much is because transportation is difficult during Mardi Gras. So many streets are closed, there are parades happening all day long, so there's certain areas that cars just cannot get into. We actually asked a pedicab for us to get from the ship over to Bourbon Street what the cost would be, and it was going to cost $150 for the two of us. So that is why we chose to walk everywhere. Transportation can be limited. Now, if you're taking an excursion off of the ship or you are walking off the ship to get a taxi, those are available. Just know it's going to take you a very long time and cost you a pretty high penny to maybe get from point A to point B.
We actually were told from some cruises on board that they took an Uber that took over an hour just to get 20 minutes away. Now, that wasn't 20 minutes Uber time, that was just walking time. So really, you don't want to be transporting around via car if you're going to actually go into the French Quarter or New Orleans during Mardi Gras. Now, we mentioned the exclusive experiences and excursions on board and the good, but we have to clarify something you need to know, but that is the fact that prices can be exorbitantly more expensive when booking through the ship than sometimes booking locally. This is specifically for those like grandstands, for parades, which are the stands that are private, reserved sections for you to sit down whenever you like. Maybe it has access to a bathroom, which we recommend you make sure you find. Those can be more expensive booking through the ship than booking locally on land. So do your research in advance. Make sure you're not paying a way more in price for something you could do for a lot cheaper going locally.
One thing that's different from this cruise compared to other cruises is that when you do dock for several days in port, ship services are going to be limited. So you might not always get all of the offerings that you're going to get on a standard Caribbean cruise. Things like activities during the day might be a little bit less. There might be less bars open. The casino and shops, of course, will stay closed the entire time. So if you're looking for that on-board experience and not so much offshore, this cruise might not be for you.
With the Mardi Gras season comes a lot of tasty beverages, and some people might be a little looser than normal. That can come back on the ship as well. So if you're someone that kind of gets offended by that, maybe this is something to note before booking this cruise.
During the months of February and March, New Orleans can have inclement weather. You never know the type of weather that you can get. It can be extremely windy, it can be rainy, so this is something to prepare for. We definitely recommend when packing for this trip, you bring things like ponchos, which we actually did have to use at one point during our trip, and layers. Layers are very important. It might be 70s and sunny during the day, and then once the sun goes down, it might be cooler, like in the 50s. You're going to want to prepare for this because it's not going to be that hot Caribbean weather that you're used to when just cruising to places like the Bahamas or Mexico.
For our cruise, we had to even be careful about a tornado watch. So weather can really change at any time during this Mardi Gras season.
Now it's time to talk about our ugly. I did forewarn you that the ugly is going to be trashy. And again, this ugly is something that it just cannot be avoided if you are going into the French Quarter during Mardi Gras. The ugly for us was the trash.
And we're not referring to people, we're referring to actual garbage on the streets. It is smelly. It is something that definitely gets into the late hours of the evening more and more and more. And it's not just for the ground. The garbage is, of course, lined on the streets for garbage collection. But on top of that, a lot of restaurants and bars couldn't keep up with the amount of crowds in there. So there'd be leftover pizza plates and pizza places. There'd be leftover dishes from chicken shacks, and including sauce all over. You have broken beer bottles and cans. Even though glass is not supposed to be allowed, there is literally a little bit of everything out there. And we really didn't like having to step through the trash to get to our next destination.
The trash was the worst on Bourbon Street, especially at night on Monday and Tuesday. So the good news is if you don't go on Bourbon Street late at night, this definitely can be avoided. But if you are on Bourbon Street late at night, Monday or Tuesday, you have been warned. You're gonna see things that you wish you didn't see, and you're gonna smell things that you wish you didn't smell. The good news is you get to come back to your beautifully clean, calm ship that is, of course, kept in pristine condition.
So would we do this cruise ever again? Did we love our experience? Absolutely. We would recommend this to anybody that fits the good, fits the want of the Carnival season. The Mardi Gras spirit is in the air. It is truly a celebration for the ages, one that we would put on any bucket list for any individual.
We had a great time, and of course, if you are interested in booking a Mardi Gras cruise, please head over to our website, www.jjcruise.com. We would be more than happy to look for Mardi Gras cruises for you in the future so that you could have an experience like we got to have here in New Orleans.
Well, that was our good, bad, and ugly of our Mardi Gras cruise. Let us know in the comments below, have you been to Mardi Gras? Has this been on your bucket list? Let us know your thoughts and any additional tips we missed when taking a cruise or just traveling to Mardi Gras. While you're there, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that thumbs up, and until next time, see ya.